Today we got a little project we're gonna do, and I believe I saw this on, I think it was one of Mr. Pete's videos. It might have been his tour of his toolboxes or something like that. I know I saw it somewhere, and basically what it is an automatic center finder for flat stock. You can also use it for round stock as long as your dowel pins are long enough. But the premise is you'll have 3 evenly spaced holes. These happen to be 1 inch apart from each other, and I have 1/4 inch dowel pins. These two are press fit. The one in the center here is a clearance hole. This dowel pin will have a 60-degree point ground on it, and what you do is take that and twist it until both dowel pins touch the side of whatever stock you want to find the center of. Put that 60-degree ground center point in there, give it a tap, you have an automatic center hole. You can be on the flat side or whatever will fit between these pins. These are 2 inches apart. You can make them bigger or smaller or whatever you want to do. This should be a pretty good size for me here. Now, the only thing is accuracy. You want to get it as accurate as possible. In other words, you want these exactly 2 inches away from each other, and you want the center of this to be 1 inch directly in the middle. Now, the accepted way, or the easiest way, would be to lay it out, center punch, center punch, center punch, go to a drill press, drill, drill, drill. The problem with that is you're going to be off. You're not going to get it perfect. And so I did this one on the drill press by center punching, and we're 1/2 inch from each edge, and we're 2 inches on center from here to here. So I should be 2 1/4 inches from edge here to edge here. And right now we are, I'm about 10 thousandths off. Alright, so that's not going to give us a true center mark. So what I'm going to do, if you have a mill, obviously use a mill and just pop it, make it easy. I don't. So what I'm going to do is cut another piece here. I'll lay it out just the same, just to give to be able to eyeball the rough idea where those holes are going to end up. This is a 1/2 inch piece of aluminum, fits perfectly in my tool holder for my tool post. We're going to clamp this in there. We're going to run a dial indicator across it and make sure this is perfectly perpendicular to the spindle of my lathe. And then I'm going to eyeball one hole. I'm going to eyeball center vertically here. I'm going to eyeball this line center and the center of a cross line here. And we're going to center drill this hole, and then using our lathe dials, 1 inch and 1 inch, and that should give us a perfect spacing on the piece of stock. That basically we're going to go about this, and it should, as far as I can tell, it should work out, or in my mind it works out perfectly. So we'll see how it works out in practice. So we're just going to center drill, center drill, center drill. We'll take it over to the drill press. We'll drill, drill, drill. This is going to be a press fit, and a clearance hole to slide, and then we'll grind the 60-degree point on this. Also, you're going to see in in all the upcoming videos, a lot of different tools that I didn't have before. You'll see a few different makes of calipers and one different make of caliper, and a couple of micrometers and stuff like that, and dial indicators that I didn't have before. I actually inherited them. A member of my girlfriend's family, my girlfriend's mother's boyfriend's father, if you can follow that chain, had unexpectedly and suddenly passed away. And he was a machinist for many years for Snap-on. Now, I didn't know that. I knew that he worked for Snap-on, but I thought he was always a salesman. But it turns out he was a machinist. And I've inherited his some of his tools, or at least some of the ones that we've found that he still had. And so that's where most of the newer things you'll see in the videos came from. Actually, this pair of Brown and Sharp calipers were his. Anything you see with a calibration sticker on it came from his tools. So that's where all those came from. So let's go over to the bandsaw. We'll cut ourselves a piece of bar stock here. We'll do it 3 inches long, and that'll give us a 1/2 inch from each edge, 1/2 inch in from this edge, and a 1/2 inch in from this edge, and then we'll do the layout. So let's go over to the saw. Okay, we're back over at the bandsaw here. I got my nice little laser line. I don't know if that really shows up really well on the stock, but you can see it there. And I have it so that the front of that line is the front of my blade. So and there you go. Perfect 3 inches every time. Alright, let's go over to the bench again, and we'll do our layout. Alright, got my edges deburred and my layout die on there. So let's just double check our width, just in case there's any difference here. Like 502 thousandths, so 251 is going to be halfway. And we want a 1/2 inch and then 1 inch away from that, so 1.5 inches from that end. Then 1 inch away from that, so 2.5 from that end. The light catches those. Now, we're not going to center punch any of those. What I'm going to do is put this in my tool holder, and then we're going to eyeball one of them. And then these other 2 holes we worked off of that one hole. So we'll have 1 inch and 1 inch, and we'll be pretty much, should be dead on. The reason why you don't want to center punch this is if you center punch it and try to line it up in your lathe, the way I'm going to do it, if you're off a little bit, the center drill that will catch the hole and will take the play out of will take the backlash out of your screw. If you're off a little bit, and then you'll be off on at least this hole to this hole because of the backlash issue. So we want to make sure that we have no backlash left in our screw when we line up this hole, and then we should be perfectly 1 inch away from each other if we go by our dials. At least that's the plan. We'll see how close we get. We're back over at the lathe. I have that piece mounted in my tool block here. My tool post is loose, but it's tight. This block is tight to the tool post here. We're going to square it up against the front of this collet adapter, which is pretty flat. So, a nice square surface. Tighten this down. We want to make sure that our tool post is nice and snug, because when we drill, we don't want this to spin and turn at any point. And when we do drill, we'll go at a slow feed, so we don't put a whole lot of pressure on the tool block. So that should be pretty close to being straight, but we can just double check that. This is just a 3/16 collet, which will fit the end of my last word indicator. So we'll just throw that in there real quick. Tighten up the collet. And get that as straight as we can. Throw in a preload of about 10 thousandths. Or 11. And we'll run it along our block and see how much we're running out. Okay, we're a little off, so is this the right one? What I'm going to do is loosen up my compound, and I'm going to adjust it by that, just because that's a little bit easier to move than trying to, every time I undo the tool post and tighten it, it's going to move. So take up half of that distance there. There we go. We're within about a half a thousandth. Pretty much. We're gonna call that. I'm gonna call that good. I think that's the best we're gonna get it. And now we can drill our holes. So let me switch this out. I'll put a 1/4 inch collet in there, which will hold a number 3 center drill perfectly, and then we'll start lining it up and drilling our holes. Alright, we got the center drill is in place. Now I want to eyeball the tip of this to our center line here and our first cross line. Now everything's going to be worked off that hole, so if we're a little bit off, it doesn't really matter that much. So let's get vertical first. So we're a little low, we got to go up. Sorry if my head gets in the way. That looks pretty good to me. Now we want to align that first cross, so we want to go beyond our work and then tighten in. That way there we get all the backlash out of our screw. And that right there looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead and set my dial at 0. Now, even though this is a 200 graduation dial, it's direct reading, so I have to go 10 full turns of the dial to get 1 inch. So, I'm going to put a little bit of lube here. And we're going to center drill that hole. We're going to go slow. I'm going to go feed in pretty slow, just because I don't want this setup to twist at all. So. And there's the 3 cross lines, and there are the 3 holes. You can kind of confirm that real quick. See if I can get this in frame. Lines up pretty good with the center of those holes. So now we'll go over to the drill press, and I should be able to follow these holes directly down. We should have pretty accurate holes and a pretty accurate layout. Let's go see how that turns out. Okay, we're going to drill our holes. I've trimmed this table before, and I do know that we're within a couple of thousand, so it should be more than accurate enough. So we'll start at one end and work our way down. And there's our holes. And yep, going all the way through the other. There's another block under there just to bump me up a little bit. And we definitely went through. So let me grab a reamer. I'm gonna ream the outside 2 holes for undersize, and I ream the middle one for size. We should get a slip fit out of that one, and then we'll I'll press in the 2 dowel pins, and I'll show you the finished product, and then we'll have to make the point. Alright, so here's the finished product. Got these in there. These press fit, center here, nice sliding fit, no wobble, just enough to make it slide back and forth. So now let's see how accurate we got this. I'm taking the measurement roughly in the middle of the dowel pins, height-wise here. Okay. So we're slightly under, We are under by, let's see what lines up here, 3. Yeah, I'd actually say either the 3 or the 4 lines up better. So we're between 6 and 7/10 under, which is plenty good for, I mean, what this is. We're not using this for amazingly accurate, you know, 100% balls on within tenths of a thousandth. You know, if we're within a thousandth, I'm happy about that. And we're actually within a little bit more of a thousandth. So, you know, this is just down and dirty centering. You need to put a hole in something real quick. Just boom, center punch, and you're done. So we basically, these pins are hardened and we have to make a point on them. So I'm gonna grind the point on them using a Dremel tool in a mount I built for my tool post. So we'll see how that works out. Alright, here's the basic premise. I have a stone. This is a flex shaft Dremel tool. I'll get a better picture or a better shot of it after, with a holder. That's the front of the flex shaft has a little like pencil grip on it, like a little holder for your fingers, and it's threaded on. If you unthread that, that's what's holding this in. This is just threaded piece of aluminum that was cut in a D shape on the end and a 1/2 inch to hold in the holder. Now we're going to rotate this backwards because the stone rotates that way, rotates from, if you're looking at it from the front, counterclockwise. So we want the stock to rotate the opposite way, so we have to run the lathe in reverse. So let's get to this. Put a 60-degree point on there. And there you go. Get yourself a nice round point. Alright, here's your finished product. Here's that center that we ground. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here. Oops, sorry. Not a bad finish on it. Obviously a tool post grinder would be ideal and you would get a better finish, but for our purposes it's perfectly acceptable. So the idea behind this is you would have a piece of stock, you want to find the center of it, put the two dowel pins on either side, pop your little center point in the middle, hold it down. There you have your center point. So let's give it a check real quick. I already have this set at 250 thousandths because this is a half inch stock here. And there you go, you end up right on the center of that scribe line. Same thing would apply with a piece of round stock. You can do the same thing. Just put it in place, touch the two dowel pins to the side, and give yourself a tap, and you'll have a perfectly on center with the center of your round stock. And another quick use for that, you want to line something in your drill press really quick. All you have to do is touch it to one pin there and swing it until it touches the other pin. And now your drill press or your drill press vise is aligned directly on center with that stock. You need just real quick, you know, nothing supremely accurate, you just need a hole in the middle of something. Works just as good. Actually, it's, as we've seen, it's actually pretty accurate, but just because you have to take it on and off on your drill press, I wouldn't trust this a whole lot. I would use this as a center punch first and then go off of that center punched hole. But if you need something super quick, you want to align a vise, works perfectly. So, and then get to the next project, and hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.